Good morning. It is 11:13. Oh, excuse me. I have got to change my laptop's time zone away from the Korean time. In South Korea right now, it is 11:13 p.m. on the 25th. But here in Baltimore, where I am, it is 10:13 a.m. on Saturday, May 25th, 2019. I did just get up. This is 5 more minutes. So today is day 2, Balticon, and yesterday went pretty well. I had a little bit of dealing with migraine stuff that slowed me down a little bit here and there. Not too bad. Even I always hesitate to even bring up migraines, which I get sometimes, just because certainly I know of lots of people who, when they get migraines, what they describe is way more intense than what I experience. And so I always feel like whenever I bring it up, I have to tell people, oh, but they're not that bad. Doesn't mean they're great. Anyway, I did fine. It was just like a little bit there. So far this morning, feel a little better. But yesterday was pretty good. I had 2 panels yesterday. One was daily podcasting. And of course, is this video series, 5 More Minutes, a podcast? I suppose it depends on how pedantic you are interested in being about the word podcast. Does it require content delivered by RSS feed? Well, if you subscribe to my website's RSS feed, you do get this delivered that way. It doesn't really matter as far as I'm concerned. But in any event, though, I really do enjoy my daily routines. First on the Shallow Thoughts, Phyllis Esposito's original serialization, and then, of course, this. I like daily stuff, so that was a fun panel. And then also later in the evening, we had Podcast the RPG, which was just about how and why to make a podcast of your tabletop RPG game. And it was, a relatively small crowd because things were still kind of getting started and everything, and it's sort of a specialized niche topic. But it was a good discussion, and we had a couple of people in who did come because they were actually interested in that for their own reasons. And so the conversation we had was interesting, but also like specifically helpful to actual individual people. So that's cool. So those were the only panels I was on. But of course I was, giving out my little fancy Phyllis Esposito playing card things. I'm very happy with how these turned out. It was the Moo company that made them. I like the rounded corners. And yeah, there we go, like that. Oh, hey, James. Yeah, it was a good panel. I can fill you in at some point on what we talked about, although a lot of it, I don't know. We can talk about it. It's good. And then, hanging out in the evening, just like a big part of what I love about Balticon is just all of these people that I've come to know and love over the years, getting to hang out with them. It's really wonderful, and just spending time and, everyone is, having a good time, and it's super fun, and just, so going to panels where other people are doing their fun shows, like, went to the live Mythwits show where Starla Hutchton, who is not only the person who designed the cover of Phyllis Esposito, Interdimensional Private Eye, but also a, writer, voice actor, and all of that of her own right. But she was guesting on that panel, and she was asked to substitute for a man named Dave Robeson because Dave was unable to come, but she cosplayed as him. And this is difficult to describe for anyone who doesn't know either of them, but let me just say it was amazing. And if you do know either of them, look up the pictures because my words will not do it justice. So went to that, and then there was also a first annual Balticon short story contest where the 5 finalists got to read their stories and then everybody voted on them. So that was fun. And then just hanging out with people, a bunch of people were down in the bar playing Cards Against Humanity. And I have played in that game in the past, and I probably would have, but it was already crowded and noisy by the time I was there. I just I don't want to force myself into that. So in the meantime, though, I am excited. Today, I have 2 more panels. First, at noon, I'm looking at my schedule here. At noon, I have writing for audio. And that's going to be a fun one to talk about because I do have opinions on that, because I certainly have stuff that I've written primarily as prose, but then adapted to audio. But I also have Space Casey, which was explicitly written just to be like a radio play. So, it's an interesting consideration. Audio and prose are not the same medium, and they have different strengths and weaknesses. But in any event, I have that. And then later this evening, we have Beyond the Wall Live, which is, the live installment of my Game of Thrones podcast that I'm on with several people. And that's going to be amazing because, of course, every year it's pretty well attended because, people like Game of Thrones. But this year is taking place just 1 week after the entire series has wrapped. I think people will want to talk about it. So I'm expecting that to be a well-attended panel. Welcome, folks, who are joining. I'm just talking about the stuff that I've got on the agenda. But, I'm also looking ahead, to stuff that is later this weekend. For example, on Sunday, I have at noon the reading that I'm going to do, and I still have to pick which segment of Phyllis Esposito I'm going to read from. And then at 3, history of podcasting. And then at 5 p.m. on Sunday is my busiest day for sure. So at 5 p.m. is the launch party for Phyllis Esposito. And I got a big poster. I got the little business cards you saw. I've made some activities. I still have to actually figure out the food situation, but I've got some people who are going to help me with that, I think. So that's going to be fun. But then right after the party, I have to run over to a panel called Left Turn at Albuquerque. And that's going to be fun because it's all about how in role-playing games, sometimes the party doesn't do what you're going to expect them to do, and you have to roll with it. And I think that sounds like a lot of fun. And then at 10 p.m. Sunday, Cutthroat Fiction. It's going to be live flash fiction writing where the audience tries to screw over the writers by telling them they can't use certain words and stuff like that. So that's going to be fun. I'm participating in that one. It's Left Turn in Albuquerque. That never happens. DMs are omniscient and omnipresent and, omnipotent. And so therefore, there's no possible way that the party could ever do something that they didn't predict. But then, so I've got a busy weekend ahead. Monday, I've got the future of podcasting. It's kind of fun that I'm on a history of podcasting and the future of podcasting. I'm on Twitch for Dummies. And then, of course, at noon on Monday, how technology can facilitate collaborative storytelling. It's a busy weekend. I'm excited. So panels are fun, but what's also the most fun and the reason I come is because my friends are here. Not all of them, but a lot. A lot of friends that I don't get to see very often are here, and I get to hang out with them for a big party all weekend, and that's great. So I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes and let you know how it's going.